here we are at the Haunted Flea Market, and I have the lovely Linda Harrison, who has been in a number of movies, and a couple of my favorites, The Planet of the Apes and The Return to the Planet of the Apes. A major heartthrob when I was a kid, and we were just chatting, and from what you've told me, you were in movies with one produced by Gene Kelly.
One was directed by Gene Kelly, and it was a Walter Matthau. It was A Guide for a Married Man. It's how to cheat on your wife and not get caught.
Oh no!
So it had all these stars on it: Lucille Ball, all the comedians of that era of the '60s, and it was very funny, and it was very successful. And before that, I did Way, Way Out, just a little cameo with Jim Brolin, and that was a Jerry Lewis movie. I got a little residual check from, they were running that movie somewhere. Anyway.
So you're still getting residual checks from that?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
It comes out of the blue, you know. It may not be very much there, but it's still being shown.
Excellent.
So anyway, yeah, then Planet of the Apes came. I had no idea that it would become the success that it has become.
Oh yeah, that several years later, people like me still love it. And younger folks are watching it and being blown away. They're
10 years old saying they love this film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the film is almost 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably counting up my age, but it's about 45 years
old. No, I'm
old.
counting my age.
I mean, we haven't had a film with that kind of longevity. I guess Gone with the Wind is longer, and some others, but I mean, it is incredible. It's a top 5 science fiction of all time.
Yeah, I was rewatching it. I rewatched it a couple of times this week because, the idea of meeting and interviewing Linda Harrison was like, had me nervous. But, just watching that movie and the beautiful cinematography, the gorgeous scenery. Where was it you were filming that?
We filmed that in Page, Arizona. And then
gorgeous.
We built, in Malibu, we built the city of Planet of the Apes. But at the beginning of the movie, with the spaceship lands in the water, and
right.
They get out in their little boats, whatever you call them, and go to shore, and it made it. Page, Arizona must include the Grand Canyon or a part of it because it's beautiful out there.
Yeah, those gorgeous vistas.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that gave it that eerie, different, dry climate,
Right.
And leading up to when you finally see the apes. You see the scarecrows,
right.
The human scarecrows.
Right, exactly,
I mean, it just, we had a hard time getting it made. I was dating Richard Zanuck at the time, and in order to get a movie made, you had to, without checking with the board of directors. The studio has a board of directors.
Right.
And any movie over $6 million has to be okay by them. So we made it under $6 million, and that was very inexpensive back then.
Right.
And we had a top director, Franklin Schaffner, and a top actor, Charlton Heston, and all that cast. Dr. Zeras, Maurice Evans, Roddy McDowell,
right.
Kim Hunter. I mean, these are top actors, and the reason why we pick top actors is because they had to come through those masks, their emotions, and
right.
their feelings had to come through the mask. So that was a conscious choice. It was well done on every level. It made breaking ground. It was a pioneer film.
Right. When it comes down to it, Roddy McDowall projecting through all that makeup, that's amazing.
He was great.
But I gotta say, Linda Harrison projecting without being able to say a stinking word, that was also amazing, dear lady.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Actually, I was quite comfortable in not saying it. Because they were working on my accent. I come from Maryland originally, the Eastern Shore. So the acting class that we had at the studio was working on my accent. So I figured, gee, if I don't have to talk, I don't have to worry about my accent. And I actually, part of me is a silent person. It's a quiet person.
Quiet person. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. I had a certain naivete about me when I was, more so when I was young. Probably still have a little bit of it. But anyway, I was very lucky.
Now, you mentioned, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned in the movie the Gene Kelly directed, they had you all over the world. You were riding, I mean, in Planet of the Apes, you rode a horse, bareback.
Right. And I had to look like I didn't know how to ride a horse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
try that on a horse.
And in the movie with Gene Kelly directing, Walter Matthau starring.
It was a very funny scene with Carl Reiner.
You said you had to be on a camel and a donkey?
I had to be on a donkey in my mink coat. I had to be on a camel with a mink coat, and a Learjet coming out with a mink coat. I think they were all different minks. And then we end up in this chalet, and in the shooting, it was showing where we traveled to get to a place where we wouldn't get caught. Mm-hmm. And the minute we meet and embrace, his wife is there with a camera.
Who played the wife?
Actually, a dear friend of my husband's ex-wife. He thought it was rather funny.
Really?
Yeah. The sense of humor. They had a lot of humor back then.
A little bit of twisted sense of humor.
Yeah, a little twisted, which they used all the time.
But you don't remember her name?
Actually, her name was Marion.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I just kind of assumed since you didn't say her name.
Well, his ex-wife's name was Lily.
Oh, okay.
And it was her friend that played the part
of
of the betrayed wife.
Okay, yeah.
And wanting to get us caught in the act, you know, so she'd get a lot of money.
No, actually, I think I got it wrong. That wasn't Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau was a different movie, wasn't
No, Walter was the lead in this movie.
Oh, okay.
And Robert Morley, an English actor.
Oh, okay. Right.
You would know him if you saw him.
Okay, the name sounds
you're
familiar.
a lot younger than me, so maybe you wouldn't.
I'm not that much younger.
Well.
You were also in Airport 75 and
Airport 75. I played. It's the last time that Gloria Swanson acted in a film,
really?
and I was the last actress acting opposite her, and that I played her gal Friday or secretary or
Very
whatever,
cool.
a little of everything, and I really got to know her quite well. Are they all waiting? Okay.
Well, let me ask you one last question.
Okay.
When we were talking earlier, I asked you basically what was the most interesting or most important thing for you in your life, and you mentioned your sons. Tell me a little bit about what your sons are doing nowadays.
Well, Harrison is my first son, and he has his own website, a very successful website called evreward.com. That's EVREWARD.com. And it has every
discount imaginable. You know, a lot of people don't know about these discounts. They just don't. I mean, Macy's and Best Buy and you name it. I mean, it's amazing the discounts he can get for people buying anything.
Very cool.
And it's turned out extremely successful. And Dean is a movie producer. He produced the movie, co-produced the movie Road to Perdition, starring Tom Hanks and Paul Newman. It was a wonderful film done by Sam Mendes, who won Best Director for American Beauty.
I love the Road to Perdition.
Yes, and it was shot here right in Chicago. And this other movie came out last year called Get Low with Robert Duvall, Bill Murray, and Sissy Spacek.
Very
And it's
cool.
about a man who wants to have his funeral while he's alive.
All right.
That's Robert Duvall.
Uh-huh.
And he's terrific in the film. And it got great reviews. So he does good film. He's an independent filmmaker, though. He does it all on his own. No daddy's help or anything like that. Both boys have moved ahead on their own initiative.
I have to say, you're a wonderful actress, and I loved you. Loved your movies as a kid, and even now I was blown away watching Planet of the Apes earlier this week. That it's still such a good movie, and it's really neat to see how proud of you are of your kids. And you know, most people, you ask them what the most interesting thing they could tell you about would think of something other than their kids.
Yes,
but you went straight to that.
No,
And
always your kids.
I am very impressed. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and I appreciate it too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.